All right, welcome back, everyone. Today, I want to create some art inspired by one of my favorite artists, a guy named Joshua Davis. And on his website, you can see a whole bunch of his creations over the past 15 or 20 years. I don't know. In particular, I'm interested in exploring some of the grid patterns that he has created. Um, Starting with a simple grid layout and just adding variation of color and shape and layering, you get some really cool effects. Like this one, for example. Also, one of my favorites has kind of a floral motif. So many here. Where is it? Here. This filigree. Look, how cool is this? We're not going to create this. We're going to create something that looks more like, let's just drag that in there. Like this, starting with very basic. This came from Hype Framework. Let's see what that looks like. Hype Framework. You can go check this out right now and explore the examples in here. That's where I found this one, and I really like it. And let's try to build it. This is what I came up with when I tried to recreate it. It's obviously not exactly the same, but we could start with something like flat like this and build it out into something more like this, or add kind of a filter to give it like soft shadows between the objects. So let's get started. Starting from our most basic, template here. Grid pattern 03. Here we go. Great. So I'm just going to clean this out. And the first thing, I want to make sure I'm in the right scene. If I change it to orange, that's great. And I'm going to create an array of these guys. Let's make this a little bit smaller. Also change the name from cube to mesh. Let's make it smaller. Mesh.scale.set scalar. I will say size. And size is going to be something that we pass in to a method function get box. We're going to pass in size. Okay. And format that. Shift Option F on your Mac keyboard to get that keyboard shortcut. And we'll just say const box, not bix, box equals get box. And the size will be 0.5, slightly smaller. And let's say box group dot add box. Let's just create our box group up here above the box. Const box group is equal to new 3 box group and scene.add box group. Boom, it explodes. I think it's because of this. Get rid of that. And there's our box. If I want to be able to pan around the scene, I like to import the orbit controls like so. Instantiate the orbit controls. Thank you. And now I could just kind of drag and pan around and look at my box, my lovely box. Let's make that a little smaller. Maybe not quite that small. I think that's a pretty decent size. I want to rotate it too. Mesh.rotation along this axis here. That's the z-axis. Rotation.z equals math.pi times 0.25 or 90 degrees. Great. Let's add a bunch of boxes now. We'll start that by doing, let's see, const grid size equals 5. Okay, and then we'll say for let I. What do you think? Can you fill that out for me? Thank you. I don't like this. I want to pass those parameters in instead. So if I create it now, they're all stacked on top of each other. Instead, I'm going to pass in a props object. So we'll say size is equal to 0.5, X, and Y. Great. And now I could pass those in and it breaks. Whoops. I want to have size equals 1, X equals 0, Y equals 0. Give it that extra guy. And then up here say mesh.position.x equals X. Boom. Voila. Const start pos. So we can offset that start position to our liking. Let's say, yeah, -2 is great. And Y is same, -2. And then just incorporate that here. Start pos.x plus X. And that scoots them over. Let's do the same for the Y position. Thank you. And there's your grid. And we've got kind of a perspective thing going here. I think if I really drop down this aspect, I think is that the aspect of the field of view? Oh boy. And move back. We can get more of an orthographic look. I don't want to use an orthographic camera at this time. I just want a kind of flat look. So I can quickly get that by modifying the FOV, field of view, from 75 down to 5, really flatten it out. Why that works, I'm not exactly sure. I'm going to compartmentalize or encapsulate this stuff here too. Let's call this get layer of boxes. I like it because it's a long name. Let's go to the end here. And the only thing that's going to be different for my layers is going to be the Z position. So we'll say Z equals a default value of 0. Format that. And now I can say, I'm going to say get box layer. Layer boxes is too long. Okay. Get box layer. Z. Let's do it like that. Get box layer at 0 and get box layer at 1. And now I've got 2 box layers. I can see them if I pan around, right? Oh, because it doesn't even matter yet. Let's pass in that Z position and use it here. Z.position.z equals Z. Good. Now I've got a Z position set on those guys. Cool, right? Sort of. Not really exciting yet. It'll make it more exciting if I add a variety of colors. For example, actually, I don't need the box geometry in that, do I? I feel like I'm going to get some memory wins and make this more optimal if I like that. I want it. If I remove that from this function that's called every time and just reuse that same box every time. Let's call this hex. So now I'm instantiating a new color, and I'll say color equals 0x ff 0000, comma. Oh, and boom, it explodes. Because sorry, it needs to be hex. Good. So there's the default color. And now whenever I'm creating a new box, I can just pass in this hex value. Const hex equals, I don't know, math.random times white. Should give us every color. That's not at all what I want. I don't want every color. I want just certain colors that are interesting. So let's quickly grab a color palette this website coolers.co. I don't know who they are or what they do. I just use them because they have cool. They have an array of tools, mostly just palettes that I can use. Let's grab a palette that we think is interesting. How about this one? No, it should have lots of colors, like this one. Open palette, and you can just come up to the URL, grab all the hex values, like so. Come over here and paste them. Const palette. Oops, 1L is equal to empty array. Let's just go back to our scene here. Okay. And in that array, start out with the hex prefix and then paste. Grab all of those dashes, comma, 0x. And now we have a palette that we can use. And I'll define that here. Hex equals palette, math.floor, math.random times palette.length. And that should give us a random color from our palette, like so, in 2 different rows. Another, to make this a little more readable, random index. I could do this. Yeah, that's exactly what I could do. Just separating that into a separate line so it's more readable. Hopefully more readable. Great. So we've got a bunch of diamonds in a grid. Let's scale them. Let's define this size parameter here. And that's another thing that's going to vary actually. Z equals 0 and size equals 0.5 for default. And now we'll say this layer is 0. 0 is closer to the camera, right? I can't remember. Same here. Z is 1. Size is 1. Let's see if it's bigger in front or behind. Whoops, I'm not using size yet. Let's use size. So, okay. 1 is closer to the camera. Now I know. Like that. Okay. Kind of interesting. I don't want there to be these black gaps though. Let's fill those in. So let's go a little bigger. Like that. Now I've filled in all the gaps. Now for the foreground or the closer ones, I want to say random size. And I'll define that here. Const random size is equal to that. That doesn't work very well. At that random times 0.5 plus 1. I don't even see it working at all. Size here. Wonder why that's not working. Why don't I see that? How about just math.random times 2? Do I see? Nope, I don't see that working either. Oh, I know why. If it is working here. I should have defined it in here. Shoot. The way I set up this function, I don't want the size to be in here. I want something else, like use random size is true. Like that. Tell you what, if I don't pass it in, it's false. If I do pass it in, it's true. Or it can be true. Use random size is equal to false. And I'm not using size anymore. Great. Kind of like that. And I'll say size. Let's just define that here. Const size equals use random size. Yeah, we'll start with that. Otherwise, 0.5. Great. Now the foreground are big and the background is not big. I really want the background to be bigger though. Let's take that 1.5. And that's 0.5 plus 0.5. I don't really feel that working very much. 1.5 plus 0.25. I can see that the background, oh God, that Z fighting is absolutely horrible. So I'm going to try not to move the camera around very much. 0.05. So some of them are really small. Yeah, ridiculous and small. And that's sort of that. That's how that goes. I'm not loving the palette as much. It's too diverse. I need 5 colors, no more. So let's just grab, hang on. Let's grab a smaller palette, like this one. And palette, grab those hex values, grays and reds only. Might be kind of boring. Let's just see. 0x, paste that in. Let's just fix that, DDD. 0x. Okay, I'm liking that better. It has more of a graphic quality. By the way, if you wanted to offset all of the colors without grabbing a new palette, color.offset HSL, and then pass in a random variant for the hue offset. Actually, don't pass in a random variant. Just pass in a static variant, like so. And then you can just ship the hue. Okay. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah. So last thing, well, 2 last things. I want to grab the post-processing effect to give the kind of ambient occlusion effect, the shadows. Hang on. I'm just going to grab those from this other one here. Here's what that looks like. It's this SSAO pass. I think SS stands for screen space, ambient occlusion. So let's paste that in here. And let's set up that effect here, right below the orbit controls. And you won't see it take effect until you modify the animate method here, the render, replace renderer with composer. And then you'll see the shadow effect. Wow. Isn't that interesting? I'm seeing some weird effects here. I love it. I don't understand what I'm looking at, but wow. I think it's because of the field of view. But then you get this nice soft shadowing. Let's shift that a hue again to just 5. Nope, I don't like that. 65. It's too far. Just 6. Or just comment that line out and have the reds and grays. Let's move that camera back to shift the field of view back to where it was when we started. And now we'll have some kind of, oh, that's a little too close. Yeah, like that. And now if I pan around, you get a little bit of Z fighting, but you could just really see all that cool stuff. All the cool soft shadows. Isn't that cool? I like that too. What if we go up to the purples, like 75? What do you think? I think it's pretty cool. Another fun idea would be to have this shift between different arrangements and colors. So transition each one with a scale effect, for example, scale them down to nothing and then scale them up in a different configuration with different colors. I think that would look really cool. and added some interest. But yeah. Oh, and also play around with the lighting. Right now, I just have, I think, this thing here. It's called a directional light. Instead of using a directional light, try a hemisphere light. Const hemi light equals a new hemisphere light, and add that to the scene. I don't see a big difference there, but then you can also add a point light. I did that in this one here. I just want to grab that so I don't have to type it again. Point light here. It's a white point light with 1 intensity. And I don't even see it. Let's see. Let's comment out the hemisphere light, see if we see it now. Am I looking at the right one? Light. Why does that look like that? Oh, I know why. I'm still using a standard material. That's why. All right, so get rid of the point light. No lights to the scene at all. I'm using a basic material. If we change that to standard material, now there's no light, so it's gone. Back to the sunlight. Let's see what that looks like. Not great. And the hemisphere light. Cool. Now everything's lit up, and add the point light, and you get kind of a bloom here. Make that a little brighter. I kind of like the light effect because it gives it a lot more dimension. There you have it. Quick and dirty exploration of this grid layout. Yeah. Tell me what you think. Leave a comment. Leave a suggestion on something I can work on or a demo. And yeah. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.